connection because a lot of the teachers did not have.
There she is.
Not have the technology at all.
Yeah.
Right. So now
Okay, wait, we can't hear her yet.
She's also young.
And she's young,
I know. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear us?
Yes.
They said she's young. I don't know if talking about you or the Israeli teacher we're just talking about. Oh.
No,
Okay.
we're young.
Can you, I want to see if you can see us for a minute. We'll say hello. Do you guys want, do you want to, can you guys say hello?
Hello.
There's me, there's everybody. Do you want to introduce yourself or say anything or just get?
Sure. My name is Jennifer Orr. I teach first graders in Northern Virginia. We're about 10 miles south of Washington, D.C. I've been teaching at this school for 14 years.
Okay. So let's do the share screen. You have to share your screen.
Right.
Thank you for doing this.
Awesome. We can see it. So how do I get rid of this? Can I move it?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just briefly say I'm assuming that Andrea's probably told you that this was an NCNDA presentation I gave at EduCon in Philadelphia last January. I also do feel I need to say I'm standing in my classroom and I have a concern that a custodian will come in at any second to clean. Hopefully I'll be able to just keep going. But I do apologize if that happens. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying that I think we're really out of focus in education at the moment. And I say focus meaning where we're spending our time, our money, our energy, our resources. And when I look at where we're spending all of that, I don't think we're spending it on the students. So that's Chris Lehman on the left there. He's the principal of the Science Leadership Academy in Philly. And he writes a lot about the idea that teachers don't teach subjects, they teach students. And we don't tend to say that. We tend to say, I teach first grade or I teach math. But he's right. I don't teach first grade. I teach first graders. These kids are the reason I do what I do. That's why we're here. That's what matters. They're what we ought to be focused on, not the content that we're teaching them. However, as a society, as educators, even as parents, we're often more focused on the content that we teach than we are on the kids that we're teaching. Parents, subconsciously, unconsciously, inadvertently, and I struggle with this myself, often end up focusing a lot on their student's report card, their child's report card. And we do it when we're talking about schools in general. We look at their test scores. The students are secondary to their own scores. We're not looking at the students as learners, we're looking at them as test scores. And when we do manage to talk about students, we still talk about them in relation to those test scores. We talk about which students are not doing well in math, which students do we need to be giving more support in reading, how do we help them raise those scores. It's always coming back to those scores, which I think is a big part of the problem. In education at the moment, our focus is on numbers, it's on quantities, be it test scores, be it percentage of minority population, percentage of students on free or reduced lunch, class sizes, how much your PTAs are raising. Everything comes back to numbers when it needs to come back to kids. We need to remember that we're teaching students, we're not teaching subjects. We're teaching living, breathing human beings, not content. This next picture is one that I keep around as a reminder to myself. These are some of my kids from last year, and I was turning around getting ready to chastise them. They were talking during reading workshop, and I was ready to tell them to be quiet, and I realized they were talking about a book. I wasn't focused on what they were doing. I was focused on, wait, we need to be reading. And I realized that I need to be thinking about my students as people and not as just takers in of content. And these are some of their New Year's resolutions from last year, and I learned so much about them as people from these, and it helped me to focus on them. These many light bulbs are a reminder to myself of an epiphany I had last year, and it felt huge, which is why I felt it needed to be a lot of light bulbs. I realized I was saying to kids a lot, are you doing your best work? Is this the best work you can do? Are you turning in your best work? I was focused on the work they were providing, on the content they were consuming and producing, rather than on the learning they were doing. And so I realized that what I needed to be saying to them was, are you doing your best learning? Are you doing your best thinking? Stop worrying about what they're producing, because often what they produce isn't really all that closely related to the thinking and the learning that they were doing. That may be more true in first grade than in some other grades. But if we can bring our focus back to the student rather than to the content, then we naturally come back to what they're learning and what they're thinking rather than the work that they are producing. It drives our focus back to where it needs to be. Right now, our focus is here. I've seen some really amazing, fabulous teachers, I'm probably guilty of it myself, of doing things that I'm ashamed of later because this was looming over me. It makes it really hard for us to remember what we teach as kids and not content. And to me, that million-dollar question, and I did take the note for that little pun, the million-dollar question is, what do we teach? And if we believe that what we teach as students, then we've got to internalize that. We've got to live it and breathe it every day. And once we do, we have to attempt to educate others, to remember that what we teach are students. We need to agree as a society that we teach students, not content. Until we come to that agreement, we're going to continue to make educational decisions based on really poor prioritizing. And if we do recognize that, if we do agree that we teach students, then we have to advocate for them. If we believe that something is going on that is harming our students, then we have to fight it. This next image is a note that was left on my desk one morning last year from a first grader, and I put it here as a reminder to myself that I do this child, her sweet first grade adoration, an immense disservice if I am more focused on, spend more energy on, value more the content than I do her and her classmates, because they're what matter. I'm here for the kids, and the kids are where our focus has to be.
Do you stop sharing your screen?
Did I? Should I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still want to see it?
We want to see you again.
Okay, now you can't see me?
We see your little picture. There you are.
Sorry about that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm actually kind of excited to have had an opportunity to do that again. There aren't a whole lot of chances to give an Encienda.
And we're going to start hopefully doing them in our faculty meeting. So if you ever want to Skype one of our teachers in.
I would love to see more.
And I have yours recorded. So
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome. Thanks so much, Jen.
Sure.
Just want to give her another round of applause.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later.